Hey everybody, this is John. I wanted to talk to you today about supplements for athletes. We get a lot of questions from our parents if there's something that their son or daughter should be taking or avoiding, or just want more knowledge on what would be safe, what they shouldn't be taking. Really with our athletes anyways, no matter what you're doing with supplements, I think besides protein and a multivitamin, supplements only really make you they only help you with 1%. So they just supplement what you're already doing. So the biggest thing we'd say is, hey, their sleep has to get on. So we're just going to imagine that this is for somebody, that is where they're sleeping at least 7 hours a night, okay? And then they're drinking at least 100 ounces of water a day, and that they're strength training and they're playing their sports. If you're doing all of those things, then I would say, hey, incorporate these other things. They will help you, or avoid these because they're not really needed. You really want to get a benefit for them, or they don't work. So the biggest thing that we would say, hey, everyone should really be taking a multivitamin. Now, if you have a balanced diet, which most people don't, we're always kind of missing something. I think that this is good. Vitamin D you could add in there if you're not getting enough sunlight, but or if you're living on the East Coast, especially the Northeast. But a multivitamin. And then based off of what our athletes need, most of them don't eat enough. So the first thing that I would say is hey, everyone can get a protein shake. One, it tastes good. Two, if an athlete's trying to gain weight, that is one way for them to add another meal, because you can add things to the protein shake to get more calories. That kind of helps them along with increasing their caloric intake if they're trying to gain weight, because that's the biggest thing. If you're trying to gain weight, you need more calories. Also, too, if an athlete doesn't get a lot of protein, this is one way for them to get protein in there. So you can't really go wrong. There's nothing, as long as you get just a protein shake that kind of just does that. A lot of them will say they add creatine, and they add all this, and they add that, and that kind of helps. Don't go for something that does it all, because if it does it all, it's not really good at one thing. Just get a protein shake. With that, we can add a link on there with a company that we like. And then below that would be creatine. Now creatine, everyone looks at that as I don't know if they should be taking creatine. Creatine is actually the most researched supplement that there's ever been. And there's really zero side effects to that. And the side effects that you would have, everyone would say, oh, you bloat because you drink more water, you retain more water with it. That's not even a percentage that you would even feel or notice. Should you be drinking over 100 ounces of water every day anyways as an athlete? Yes, so if that's what you're already doing, maybe even bring it up to a gallon. As long as you're doing over 100 ounces, that should help. This is definitely proven to increase your overall strength. If you get stronger, you could gain more muscle. That's kind of this is something that I would add to somebody that is trying to gain weight, but it really could benefit male and female and help them get stronger. That's I only give this to people, or would recommend it to somebody if they're covering all their other bases. If you're not drinking enough water, if you're not sleeping enough, if you're not eating right, that's really not going to help you, because again, this is 1% of your total results. So if you're not doing all the other things, that's not really going to work. So you would just be kind of drinking a powder that doesn't necessarily taste good, or doesn't taste bad, it's just weird. So that doesn't really help you. Now, if you're getting one of these supplements, make sure you just get creatine monohydrate. That's it. It's very cheap. You can get it off Amazon. There's a bunch of different companies that do so. And that's usually the easiest way to take a supplement that would help you. Multivitamin, obviously, we think everyone should be taking that, whether they're an athlete or not. So pretty much these are things that they're super safe. There's nothing that you would ever have to worry about with them, doing something they shouldn't be doing, or taking something that's going to end up hurting them. The only thing that would hurt you if you had a protein shake and you put too much food in it and you got a stomachache because you just ate too big of a meal. That's really the only thing that could happen from there. Now, the supplements that we would say bad, or that we wouldn't recommend, pre-workout, there's ones that are stimulant-based, there's some that aren't stimulant-based. Coffee's probably one of the best pre-workouts that you could do. But even then, we're that's kind of the mindset of just toughen up. If you shouldn't need something that gets you ready to exercise. you should just be able to do it and have enough energy to do so. If you're feeling the need for pre-workout, then we can go back to what we were talking about before and saying, hey, that means you're not sleeping enough. That means you're not eating enough, because if you're completely drained and tired, that's not going to necessarily help you. Now, say if somebody works nights and, say they're working 12-hour shifts and they want to have something once in a while, we could say, hey, that would be something that you could go into. But even then, I'm like, don't do it every time you train. Maybe do it once in a while when it's like kind of like worst case scenario, you want to get it in, but you have to do something, whatever it may be. Test boosters, look, especially if you're an athlete, say you're 18 years old, it's like the highest amount of testosterone that you're ever going to have in your body. And they have the natural test boosters. They're usually like, hey, this, I guess a plant, has been shown in studies to show this. Would it really mess them up or make them sick or bother them? No, but it's just something that's unneeded. You're just going to waste your money. Their testosterone's going to be the highest that it's probably ever going to be in the rest of their life. So this is not even the time that you would even worry about that, because you're already at your highest level that you're going to have. So I'd say waste of money, don't need it, unnecessary. Then we'd get into fat burners. Look, this is something where it's like, this is, again, if you're eating right and you're drinking enough water and you talk to somebody that can help you, like say if we're helping our athletes where they want to lose a specific amount of weight or get in shape or do whatever it may be, that's all through diet. This, again, this is only going to give you maybe 1%. Even still, these aren't really necessarily going to make you feel good, depending on what product it is. Some of them increase your overall body temperature, which is not a good way to lose weight. Back in the day before things got banned, they used to have things that would make your heart beat faster, which then would make you burn more calories. Those are no longer there. They might have, new supplements that I don't know about that say, hey, do the same thing, but they're not on a banned list. So they're just something where, hey, if you worked with a coach, they would walk you through it and they would help you lose weight if that is your main goal. Again, that's only going to do 1% of it. But all of these things we'd say, hey, you don't need them. They're either going to be a waste of the money. They're not necessarily the most healthy thing to do. People tend to look for these as like the answer to their problems. And again, they just supplement what you're already doing. So your main things is like, hey, this is kind of the main stuff we need you to be focusing on. And this is in addition to the things that we've spoken about. So if you guys have any questions on anything with what we would recommend or what would be good, what would be a waste of money, and what we would recommend for athletes, feel free to ask and we'll help you guys out. Thank you so much.